I got it. Hey, man. Hey now, what is going on, yo? It is your boy JG. We have not been live on the show, golly, on the Brain Train for a long time, but it is time for us to crank it up once again because it is Selection Sunday. The Auburn Tigers are very much on the bubble. 1 year removed from getting into the Final Four and playing Florida for the national title. We wait the situation that the Auburn Tigers are going to face. Could be NIT, could be NCAA. We don't know. I'm going to go ahead and bounce over to our main page here. And we've got Justin with us today, Justin Hokanson, who is the legend himself. What up, Hoke?
What's going on, man? What do you think? Final guess? They in, they out?
My guess is that they are out. But that would make me sad because I think that it would be fun to have them play Miami, Ohio.
You want to see that, don't you?
I really, really do. I think it's the right thing to do. And the NCAA tends to kind of mess around with the groupings and make good stories. And I think that would be a great story.
Yeah, I mean, the consensus seems to be that they're out. And so we'll see. And if they don't make it, it's just the close of the season. I mean, it'll show you how strongly they want teams playing well when it's tournament time, you know?
Yeah.
Because, you know, you could play the game and go, well, I mean, if you look at the totality of the season, like I wrote about, Auburn should be in. But you can't get over 3-7, 3-9. They really closed 3-9. If you just do the last 10, I guess it's 3-7.
Yeah.
And they got blown out by Alabama. That was a 12-point game, but they were down almost 30 at one point. And then the way they lost the Tennessee game, giving up a 20-0 run, it's like there's just too many moments where they haven't looked like a good basketball team. And so it's going to be almost an eye test thing where they look at the totality of what Auburn's done. And I think when you look at that, they should be in. If you took all the bubble teams and put them in a mix and disregarded the last 10, just said, here from start to finish, here's what you did, Auburn would be in. But that last 10, they haven't played well and they haven't been good. And that's going to be tough to overcome. And you have 2 losses in there to non-tournament teams as well. If it was 3-9, I think 6 of those 9 are tournament teams. But then you have Oklahoma, Mississippi State, Ole Miss. Oklahoma's a bubble team. That's not even a bad loss anymore. But the Mississippi State loss and the Ole Miss loss are just linger. So it's not just that you didn't even play well. You lost a couple games that everybody was going, yikes. It's not even a tournament team.
Got a super chat coming through from Justin C., the legend himself. Says we got to bring the basketball drain back next year. I think that's why we had a down year. Justin, I kind of anticipated troubles this year, and that's one of the reasons that we didn't go in full in on that. But you're right. We need to rethink that next year. Looks like Duke is going to make the tournament, unfortunately.
Duke has made the tournament. Breaking news there, right there.
I hate them. But they're pretty dang good this year.
So, I mean, if they get in, I think the question for Auburn is, it feels like there's so much on the bubble that they'd almost have to be a play-in game. It almost feels like the committee would go, all right, we see everything you did well, but you closed terrible. Everybody's torn on you. Go earn it. We'll stick you in the play-in game. You can be an SEC team in the play-in game and go earn it. Feels like that's what they would do with them if they do get in. I don't know that they're just going to straight up make it in. I could be wrong, I guess.
The problem is that you got Texas and Oklahoma are in a similar spot, really. I mean,
Oklahoma. Yeah, and that debate's tough. Oklahoma beat Auburn, but head-to-head in college basketball, that's not. I mean, outside of that's rarely is that the differing thing. I mean, Auburn's metrics are far better than Oklahoma's. If it comes down to that, you go look at who Oklahoma played non-conference. I mean, all they did was play a bunch of 250 or worse KenPom teams at home. I mean, it's insane. Texas, kind of the same thing. Auburn played a harder schedule, had more quality wins, beat Texas, had more wins above a ball. Like both those teams, Auburn's metrics are better than them in not just like one category, basically all the categories. Oklahoma would just they closed so well, and they beat Auburn, which is such a subjective thing when you talk about the close of the season. It's just like that's a ratings thing. It's like, why is how you close more important than any other metric? Well, because they want the tournament to be good. They want people to be excited. They want good matchups. They don't want a team that's floundering that goes in there and then gets popped by 20. I get it.
Okay, so here's your first 11, which is probably what Auburn would be if they got in.
Because generally, even when you're a bubble SEC team, you're not going to be past 11. Maybe could sweep to 12, but generally you're not going to be past 11. Yeah.
So there'll be 2 regular 11 seeds, and then there'll be 2 play-in 11s, and this will not be one of those in the East.
Yeah, I mean they're not going to be a 10. So
no, it sucks that they're in this spot. One win, man, just one of the Texas A&M game early in the season. Not choking that late lead against Mississippi State, not losing at home to Ole Miss. Just one of those. And
literally, I mean, the way the bubble transpired, you really could point to one. You could almost say if Auburn doesn't lose to Ole Miss at home, they're probably on the right side of the bubble. Certainly, if they beat Ole Miss and Mississippi State, we're not even talking about it, and we're not even having this discussion. They could have everything else could have been the same if they don't lose those 2 games. The game you had a 7-point lead with 4 minutes left, and then an Ole Miss team at home that hadn't won 10 straight games, and in Neville, it's just 2 games you can't drop. Which is why, like I wrote, if Auburn doesn't make it, despite the metrics, I think their metrics matching up better than pretty much most of the bubble teams. If they don't make it, it's hard to. You can complain if you want to, but it's hard to complain because you've got those losses that just shouldn't have happened, and you didn't play like a tournament team for the last 6 weeks in large parts, and so it's tough to. I get why Auburn fans are like, yeah, I want to be in. I think we should probably be in, but you know what? If we don't, I can't really be mad about it because we're not playing like a tournament team. Like I get both sides of that.
Look at Key Hall's old team gets in this year.
Oh my gosh!
Central Florida going to play UCLA, and
wow,
that's beatable. I mean, they can win that game.
I didn't even think about that. That's brutal.
And UConn and the Furman Paladins. Okay, so not much of note here so far in this initial situation. The St. John's win is crazy about how Auburn gave them the business. What is it, 2 or 3 months ago now? And I would argue St. John's is one of the 2 or 3 hottest teams in the country now. It's a great win now, but I don't know that they would beat St. John's right now. I don't think so.
Yeah, I doubt it. No, I don't think so. I mean, Tahad got hot. I mean, what, UConn's a 2 seed, and didn't St. John's beat them twice?
No, St. John's definitely lost them earlier in the year.
Oh,
and they gobsmacked them in the tournament.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely knocked them out. Ricky P is on fire right now. He's got that team locked in. That's the first coach I covered, Hogue. Rick Pitino at University of Kentucky, yeah. How about that? Louisville Cardinals getting in against the South Florida Bulls in Buffalo, New York. Okay.
There's BP. How dare them let him on TV? He's still getting paid by Auburn, man. How dare them?
I know. They were like, can you believe he's advocating for Auburn?
What a scandal.
Yes, I can. I can understand that, yeah. It's funny how he's been vilified for this take again about Miami, Ohio. I don't know. Are they good? Is Miami, Ohio good? Probably not.
They're good. They're good. They're not. They're a good team, but that schedule's just pathetic. I don't know. I'm so torn on that. I'm like, I think the arguments are funny about Miami of Ohio when people go, don't tell me their strength of schedule. They went 31-0. And I'm like, okay, but how do we talk about 31-0 and don't talk about their schedule? How do you propose we do that? So it's like, you want to say, yeah, great job of going undefeated. That's really hard in college basketball. But their schedule's a joke. Like 27-ish games were quad 3 and 4. I mean, it's just insane. I mean, half the SEC, Auburn would damn near go undefeated against that schedule. It's just terrible. It just is.
Auburn would go undefeated, yeah.
It's nothing against Miami, Ohio. It's just like,
right.
Come on, man.
And then they give BP hell about it.
You beat who's in front of you, and they got to play who's in front of them, and all that good stuff. But the Miami of Ohio Auburn playing game would be nuts.
Yeah, that's just it's what America needs. It really is, in my opinion. I think I put up on the bunker this morning a poll to see what percentage of people thought they were going to get in versus not get in, and it's about 75% no, about 15% yes, and 10% ham sandwich. So that's how things are looking on the bunker. It's interesting when Auburn people are like, hell no, we're not going. We shouldn't be going. And I was like, guys, Come on now.
I
I mean,
know.
if your wife was in a beauty pageant, you still vote for her, right? I mean, come on. I would. I mean, let's see. Legend 24 says, I can already hear Steven talking about how close we are. Well, he stopped saying that like in January, but
he said he wouldn't use those words. No, listen, if they don't, I'm sure Auburn will. I don't know if whatever happens if they don't, and then they make the NIT, you'll just get a press release from Auburn about that making the NIT, and you'll get a quote from Steven saying, hey, we're excited to be playing in the postseason, and we're going to get ready to play, that kind of thing. But if you ask Steven, like, does he think they should be in the tournament? Heck yeah, he does. Like, he's looking at the schedule they put together, and they do have some fantastic wins, absolutely. But he'd also say we had a chance down the stretch and didn't do it. I mean, he's not. I mean, he'll keep it real in that way. So I mean, like, he knows what it is. He knows the deal.
Yeah, he does.
But he wants to get in, and there's a lot of good arguments to make for Auburn getting in. There actually really are. There are. I think I put in the story, like, Alabama's a similar-ish team. In 2018, Alabama was 19-15 and had the number 3 strength of schedule and made it as a 9 seed.
Oh.
I mean, that was a year. That was one of the first years I remember where they really probably shouldn't have made it, but their strength of schedule was so good. They went out and played a ton of great teams, and they made it. And kind of right after that was when teams were like, oh, well, let's schedule like crazy because they're going to start, valuing that.
Yeah, I think they need to reinforce the teams that really do play a real schedule, and Auburn certainly did that. So
Auburn went overboard.
You just want to see Auburn win a few more non-super hard games, right? Like the ones we talked about earlier. All right, San Diego, California.
Houston?
Yeah, I know. And they were close in that game.
What if they knock that game? What if they win that game?
Yeah. Going to be playing at the San Diego State Arena there, Arizona and Long Island. I think I covered Alabama. This is back when I was a newspaper reporter. Auburn was not in the tournament. I covered Alabama playing out there at San Diego, and the basketball stadium's in a deserted football stadium. So it's like you walk out the bottom level, and then you have to go up steps to get out. It's kind of interesting. Villanova, back a little bit. A very proud basketball school. And Utah State was really good this year out there in their little league.
Hey, so I looked it up. Obviously, Auburn hasn't made the NCAA tournament very often, but I was curious, they actually have a 5-year run, 84, 85, 86, or 85 through 89, whatever. That's their 5-year run. So missing this would hurt history. I mean, they have a chance to match history, 5 straight seasons, which is the most they've done. This little run has got a chance to match and then potentially keep it going and try to make it 6. If they miss it, they'll be.
Dude, High Point's such an interesting story. I think Gigi Smith, Tubby Smith's son that played at Georgia, he was the coach there, and they were not very good. So he gets run, and they bring in a new coach, and they just went straight up. I mean, they got better in a hurry. And I think down at that level, you get a few players, you get a good idea how to coach, and, man, you can get hot real fast. Arkansas is a 4 as the SEC tournament champions.
That's a I saw some that had them as a 5, so maybe winning. Well, but they probably already were seeded. That's where they should have been. I heard them during the telecast. They were saying some people projected Arkansas as a 5, and I'm going, wait a minute, how are they 13-5 in the league and as a 5 seed? That was nuts. Acuff is insanely good.
He is so good. Darius Acuff is really, really good.
Incredible. Arkansas is a weird team, though, man. Arkansas is one of those teams that people are going to have Arkansas in the Final Four, and they could lose game 1 or 2. Like that team. I think Acuff will carry him a little bit, but boy, I don't know. I wouldn't know how to pick Arkansas, man.
Texas gets in, Hoke.
Against NC State, which you're not going to. That's Auburn beat both those teams, and that's the spot you would think you'd see Auburn, because the other play-in, I don't think the other play-in is generally not going to be another group of power teams.
Right, it's going to be like SWAC or the MEAC or something, yeah.
Yeah, so that's wild that Auburn beat both those teams. NC State kind of floundered late too. Texas, of course, lost to Ole Miss in the SEC tournament. Like, Texas getting in over Auburn is just wild. I'm just like, the metrics are all in Auburn's favor, and they beat them. You just would go to Auburn didn't close the season well. So
Texas finished ahead of Auburn in the standings, right?
Yeah, they did. They did.
Yeah, P-Pass says Texas getting in is riot worthy, and it's a stinger. It is.
Missouri being Missouri was kind of an interesting team. Like, 10 seed.
I mean, when they were good, man, they played really well. But other times they were kind of like Auburn. So yeah, I think Auburn's chances are low now.
I think they're out now. I mean, Texas NC State's where they'd be. That's where they'd be. Because my understanding is that other playing game I think is not like another two more power teams. It's not going to be that. I don't think it's going to give those other guys a chance. There's Queens, who Auburn beat by 40, and their coach is mad at Auburn's assistant coaches for scouting their tournament they're in.
Sitting in the stands of their tournament, yeah. Caduman says, time to drain. Glad to have you here with me, my guy. Let's see. Legend says, no, there's still one more, but I don't see Auburn getting in over SMU. SMU lost.
SMU actually did have a really they played a lot of good teams. That was the team that was comparable to Auburn, and they played a lot of quality teams. And among those bubble teams, they're the only one that has a net that's right there with Auburn. The Texas one's tough because you're right. Texas finished ahead of them in the standings, by a couple games.
Yeah, a couple games.
But then you look at it and you go strength of schedule, wins above bubble, net, KPI, head-to-head, Auburn across the board. Wins over tournament teams, top 25 wins. Every other thing you can think of, if you wanted to compare Auburn and Texas, Auburn's better than them. You would just go, they finished a couple games better in their league, which matters. But when you have 6 or 7 kind of metrics that you look at, that's a tough one to swallow. Like SMU played a lot of good teams. NC State was probably in. So Oklahoma's probably out, and Auburn's probably out.
I did get a super chat earlier from Don Proper Dickens. Says, appreciate it. You too, Hoke. He's a big fan of you, Justin, and your basketball analysis, because Don knows his basketball for sure. Appreciate that, my man. And Don's also one of the guys on the Bourbon Blend, one of our Bourbon Blenders. Feel like a stranger jumps in to say, what's up, Beaches? First strain in months, and sounds like a funeral for the season. It kind of is, my man. It kind of is. Kanuman says he likes that cap, Hoke. I remember you, I think you had first choice.
I need to do that. That's on me. I need to set up, I've got a way to set up a portal and people can go order. And then once the orders, like after 2 weeks, they'll gather the orders and make them and ship them. I'm not going to, so I need to do that. I've got some of these.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet. You and Cole were saying, I think what is it? The little wrap, the band, the rope, excuse me, is kind of like what the kids are doing these days. So,
well, I've got a white, I've got blue, I've got a black one that I like.
Yeah, they're good looking.
All right, so we got one more grouping, but that Texas NC State, I don't see how. We'll see. I mean, you haven't seen Miami.
Sorry, Jason wants to know, is the team really hosting a watch party right now?
No, I mean, I'm sure they're together in the facility watching, yes.
Right, but it's not like there's cameras on them or anything.
Heck no. Are you kidding me?
Network cameras.
So we haven't seen Miami of Ohio, right? We haven't seen SMU. We haven't seen Auburn. So, I mean, there's a chance they could be. I mean, Miami of Ohio was thought to be in. SMU's thought to be in. Maybe that's your last play-in game. But there are a couple of other teams right there that we're waiting on that people thought might get in. So it feels like Auburn would have – but you can't put Auburn – so how would that work, by the way? Auburn played NC State. So you would never do a rematch in the first round, right? But a play-in game is kind of a different thing. Like you might not have a choice. Would they have put Auburn against NC State again in that situation? Or is it like, no, they played. We cannot possibly put them, even if it's a play-in game, we cannot put Auburn there. So I don't know. You're not going to put Auburn versus Texas or Auburn versus NC State. So maybe there's a chance they're in the other one, but
I mean, and do you think it's a foregone conclusion at this point if Auburn does slide to the NIT that they're going to go? I mean, will they play in the NIT?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, I didn't directly ask, "Are you going?" But I was asking questions of, "Hey, if you guys go, I mean, you're probably looking at 2-3 home games because you're probably going to be a 1 seed." And the responses I was getting was like, "Yeah, it would look like that." So it was like, I didn't get like, "Doesn't matter, we're not going." I think it would be a mistake to not go. You got a first-year head coach. Every game matters. You got kids on that team that you want to try to bring back. A little bit more experience for them would matter. You could get some home games. I don't know how the revenue split in terms of postseason games. I don't know if Auburn gets every penny of that stuff or not, but you give your fans a few extra chances to go to a home game. You don't turn that down. Like, imagine the fans are already mad. There are some diehard basketball fans that would love to go to another couple of games in Neville. I mean, they would. Hey, another couple of games in, like, I'll come down and go. And if you were just like, nah, we're too good for the NIT, and they're like, wait, what? We just turned down home games? You don't do that. You can't do that.
Jason says, will we even get an NIT bid?
Yeah. Well, they do. The top 12 conferences get an automatic. And then I think the SEC and somebody else get like 2. So they're automatically in. Like SEC and somebody else, it'd be like Auburn and Oklahoma are like guaranteed. They're in. They're automatically in. And you look at how close Auburn is on the bubble. You look at their home environment and their ability to bring fans in. I'd be shocked if they're not a 1 seed in the NIT, which would mean it's a 32-team tournament. So what does that get you? At least 2 home games, or is that 3 home games and then to New York?
You'd definitely at least get 2. And I'm old enough to remember
16 to 8 to 4.
I've covered some Auburn NIT games back in the day. I think they played Tulsa back with Kenny Gabriel.
I was at the and they had that run with Rasheem Barrett, and then they won a game, and then they lost at home to Baylor, maybe? I don't know. I can't remember. They beat Miami one year.
I don't know if you buy this. 9-time champion was saying that Kalshi, which is like the area where you can kind of bet on things happening in the world, said Auburn's NCAA odds just went up a ton. So they feel like, based on the Kalshi numbers, which is what it is, suggesting that somebody thinks Auburn's in. We'll just see how that plays out. That could just be somebody making a mistake. I'm assuming it's kind of a pari-mutuel type situation there, but I don't know.
Here's the deal. All these bracketologists, Auburn's an interesting case this year. I don't know that it's just some cut and dry bracketology prediction. You're talking about them being potentially the first team ever with 16 losses to make it. They've got these incredible metrics because of who they played. Arizona, Michigan, Houston, Purdue. Like, they played a stupid schedule. But then they close so poorly. It's a really interesting scenario where they have so many metrics that go their way, some really good quality wins, but then such a poor ending. You'd be like, how does a team that has that metric, outlook, how do they close 3-7? It's a very odd team to evaluate.
I like that Georgia St. Louis game. That's going to be a good one. I never pull for Georgia, so definitely going to take the Billikens in that
but one. Auburn is a 12 seed. Let KO play Texas Tech. No,
Akron gets a 12. Had a big win last night in their conference tournament. They're really good this year. I think they had 1 conference loss this year. I still think Texas Tech's going to rail them, though.
Here's the thing, by the way. If Auburn doesn't make it, we'll just talk about it in another minute or 2.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Alabama fresh off a loss to Ole Miss there. It's just the last game they played.
It's not a big deal. Oh, well.
In Tampa, yes. It's a pretty easy trip for them, I guess. Tampa.
Yeah, it's an easy trip. Taking on Hofstra.
Hey, Alabama, Texas Tech, that's a pretty good clash of styles right there. Texas Tech's real good. That would be – Alabama, Texas Tech in the second round is an insane game. That's like Sweet 16 or Elite 8 quality, honestly.
Joel jumped in with a super chat. Oh, this could be an 11 right here coming up. Oh, that's not going to be Tennessee.
Well, you're not going to put him against Tennessee. Maybe, but I don't think so, right? I don't think so. I think you'll find out right here.
The net ratings replace the RPI as the main metric
of the
committee.
They're not in.
How SMU.
Yeah, they're not in. You're not getting in over Texas, NC State, Miami, Ohio, SMU. That they're all in. The only shot now is if they put Auburn literally as a 12 or something, which is just not. No, they're out. Yeah, they're out. It's out. They're out.
That's a wrap. America wanted Miami, Ohio, and Auburn. That's what America wanted. And I forgot that SMU's in the ACC now. So you get to ride those coattails a little bit more than they would have normally. They're a decent team, but man, America needed that game. How about that? Jason just gives it a boo. Joel did ask earlier, Hoke, I thought that net ratings replaced the RPI as the main metric that the committee looked at, with our net rating being over the SEC. Other SEC bubble teams, why don't we get in over them? I guess you were kind of wondering that yourself. Like, Auburn's got a lot of good peripheral numbers. and we're not really sure why. I don't know. There probably will be words discussed about this later in this show. One of the committee members will say, "Here's why we put Texas in ahead of Auburn," or whatever.
It'll be only the second time they've missed the tournament since 2018, and the other one was the Sharif team. If you take away the COVID year, which is true, I mean you can't count the COVID season.
I know, but they were going to make it that year. Pretty good in 2020. Dang, that sucks.
Kentucky, I mean, this is it, right? Is there any more? Or do we have another region?
Yeah, there's one more region, but
we're in the South.
Yeah, but I don't see it happening.
So they didn't make a play-in game, and so if you don't make a play-in game, yeah, you have to be slotted as just a straight up 11. So now, for them to get in now, you're saying that the committee would be saying that they were actually ahead of Miami of Ohio, SMU, Texas, and NC State, which pretty much nobody that does this had that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Lenardi's last update had Auburn as the second team out.
Behind them in Oklahoma. Yeah. So Oklahoma probably out too.
And I don't know if you saw this, UMBC talking smack on Twitter at Auburn, saying we got in fair and square. We didn't even have to stump for it. I was like, stop.
Who did that?
UMBC's Twitter account, which is always kind of, they're pretty catty, but it's a fun account. But it's just weird starting fights with Auburn. I don't know why Auburn's catching strays in that fight.
By the way, not to make it an Alabama thing, but that's 6 straight years that Alabama's been a 4 seed or has been a 6 seed or better.
Oh, they play good basketball up there.
Yeah, they've been good.
Yeah, P-Pass says UMBC is fun. They're fun. They're very catty. And they beat Virginia. It was the first men's 16 seed to win.
I love the timing of my man Cole Pinkston. Cole Pinkston's like, I'm going to post recruiting updates right
now.
He's like, I think that'll be a good time. I think people want to, let's go football right now.
Well, we do have football starting Tuesday. Is going to be our first practice of the spring. So we'll have that. I think it's right on time for like a cold dip. It's going to be the high of 40.
Byron Brown's winning the Heisman. They're winning 10 games. Let's just get all this out of the way.
Did you see that Cole did a 1 hour video the other day on like breaking the USF, former USF offense down? I mean, I'm telling you, that guy lives and breathes football.
Man.
We're
waiting, but at this point, the only way Auburn is in is if they are slotted ahead of those 4 play-in teams, which is Miami, Ohio, SMU, Texas, and NC State. And pretty much nobody that does this for a living had them ahead of those teams at this point. I mean, so it would be a pretty big shocker if they just popped up as like the straight up 11 seed. That would be, because they're not going to be a 10. They're not going to just straight up be a 10. So that, they have to sneak in as 11, which I don't think they will. I think we're just waiting, but I think they're out at this point.
Yeah, Justin said easy path to the Sweet 16 for Alabama. You and I do not agree with that. Texas Tech's pretty good ball club.
That's good. They're good. I mean, that's a tough league. Big 12's a tough league. They went to Arizona and won. Texas Tech. I'm pretty sure I watched that.
Let's see. War Name Eagle says Cole is a dog. Love recruiting and film as much as he does. Yeah, we're glad to have Cole. He's a really good dude, and I'm glad to have him on the team. Hey, something funny, Hoke? I know you don't really care about this personally, but I drove by they're building a new Pike Road High School, which is one of the big schools around where I live.
Yeah.
And the school's not done, and they're not going to be done for like another year or so. But the football stadium is finished. Oh, hell yeah, it is. Everything. It's beautiful too. They got a big old jumbotron, and it's going to be nice. They're going to be ready for this season. And I've never heard of a school in the state of Alabama where the football stadium's finished first. That's always, my daughter went to a academic school here in town, and they didn't even build them like a playground, but they still don't have one. But Pike Road starts with the football stadium, so I'm sure Cole will be out there a little bit this fall to see them play. I think Granger played at Huntington with Cole. Granger Shook, who's the coach at Pike Road. So, let's see. Razor Ramon says he'll accept an NIT bid. And Fuzzy says we're on to baseball season. Baseball did have a sweep on the road this weekend at Missouri. Missouri's not great Although I think they came in, Hoke, at like 18-3 or something like that, or 15-3.
Yeah, I don't know who they had played.
Nobody good. But Auburn beat that ass, so they're pretty good.
Yeah, you go to the end. I don't love turning down. I could understand maybe if Steve and them said, "Hey, let's just end the season, and then we can just focus nothing on the portal doesn't open until April 7th, but we can already start having conversations, looking at who's we think's going to be in. We can just be ahead of the game, full speed ahead on what you're going to do in the portal." But I just don't love turning down postseason. I hated it when Notre Dame said, "Oh, we didn't make it. We're out of this whole thing." Man, the only way you do it is if literally the players just go, "None of us want to play." Well, then you don't have a choice. But I don't think this is a thing. The NIT is not. This is not a thing where you go to the team and goes, "All right, guys, we didn't make the NCAA tournament. You guys want to play anymore or not?" I mean, it's just not a. That's not. You're the head coach. Set a standard. Like, we're playing. If you don't want to play, you don't have to. I'll go play whoever wants to play. But I just don't love turning down bids. I don't love it.
Nine-time champion says, if I was Steven, I would sit my whole staff courtside for the Queen's first round game. Exactly.
In Auburn polos.
All right, Todd Golden going to Tampa. Going to be not playing Alabama, but down there alongside Alabama.
By the way, interesting. Florida gets spanked in the semis. Michigan gets beat. I mean, you got two number 1 seeds that have looked phenomenal lose in their conference tournament. I don't know that this group of 4 number 1 seeds is like what you had last year with Houston, Florida, Auburn, and Duke. It might be a little more vulnerable, but those 4. I mean, Duke's really good. It could be chalk again, but I don't think it's going to be all 4 number 1s again.
The Clemson Tigers.
There's Vandy. I wonder if they switched Vandy and Arkansas depending on who won that game. Like they're a 5 and a 4. I heard them. I've seen projections where those were opposite. I wonder if they literally just go, whoever wins will go 5 and we'll go 4. I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, Byington's the coach of Vanderbilt. Byington, he's a player. Also, that dude with the boombox is back at McNeese. By the way, I read about this the other day. Aura. Did you see that? Remember that a couple years ago, Hope?
Yeah.
He's back. I bet he's just slaying at McNeese.
I didn't watch a bit of them, but man, they had a good year.
Tailed off a little bit late, but yeah, they're pretty good.
By the way, the NIT is at I think it's at 8:30. If you go to their Twitter, they say that they're going to release on their Twitter and social media at 8:30.
There's the Troy Trojans. T-Boy Tigers in the chat. Troy won their league title. And they got 2 Gingers playing.
You'll pretty much find out here. The only shot here is this one.
But this is going to be VCU, right?
I mean, this is a team that's going to get,
I think this will be VCU against North Carolina.
I mean, they're not going to be a 10, but we'll wait and see. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So VCU, North Carolina.
So here's what's crazy. If Miami of Ohio doesn't lose, I would love to know if Auburn is the team that sneaks in there. Did them losing knock out Auburn after Bruce makes his comments? They lose, and could they be the team? I mean, they're probably not going to match up Auburn in Texas, but they could have done Auburn. Well, no, I mean, it could have been Auburn and SMU.
Yeah.
But if they don't, is Auburn? I'd be curious to know, was Auburn literally the last team out? Were they literally the very last team? And if Miami of Ohio wins, they're playing SMU in a play-in.
How about that? That would be gnarly. Let's see, Ira Bowman's alma mater, Penn, taking on the Illinois Fighting Illini. I did get a super chat from my man Travis J. It says, long time no CJ. I'm on 3 now. Awful end to the season. Yeah, I'm glad to have you over there, Travis J. He's one of our great brain drainers. Here's the last possible chance for Auburn to be in would be a 10 right here in Oklahoma City, but it's going to go to the Aggies, who are finished well ahead of Auburn in the standings. So Travis says, is it official? We're out. Everyone said we didn't make it, just left church. Yes, Auburn is not going to make the NCAA tournament this year. They lost out on their last spots, I guess, to Texas and SMU, really, are the 2 teams I think that got in instead of Auburn. And it looks like Auburn and Oklahoma are going to be the ones that were left out.
So is that it? It's officially out?
Well, that's the end right there. That's the last. I mean, we've had the whole bracket revealed at this point. The Vandals, the Idaho Vandals.
That's the whole bracket. We're all done.
Yeah, that's the full bracket right there. So, no go. Tough. You get Troy in. You get. I mean, they won their way in. You got Alabama in. They won their way in, and then Auburn's out.
Oklahoma made a run, didn't make it in the end.
Yeah, I mean, they still finished below Auburn.
Where no team with 16 losses makes it.
I'm sure they have in the past when some of these. Yeah, I know what you mean. As an at-large, it would be tough. Man, that's a tough one.
Auburn's out. Weeks on the bubble. The Tigers left for the NCAA Tournament.
Yeah, you get to see a little inside baseball here where Hoke's got some stories already written, and then he's going to go ahead and post one, the one about them not making the tournament and going to the NIT, or going to get an NIT bid. We have every reason to believe Auburn's going to accept the NIT bid and play, and they'll probably be a 1 or a 2 seed in the NIT tournament. And they'll have at least 2 home games. I wonder what kind of teams they'd be playing, like JMU or something like that. Travis J jumps in again. It says, as a friend of the program, says we were so close. I wish I had my buttons, man. My buttons aren't working. Let me see if I can just get a laugh on here for that. That's pretty funny.
10 teams get in, and Auburn and Oklahoma were just damn close.
Yeah, so close, so close. SEC gets 10 in. Wow. They think that Auburn would get, there it is, first 4 out. So Auburn technically was the second out.
Second, yeah. So Lenardi had that right. He had Oklahoma and Auburn.
Golly, man. To me, it's almost an indignity to be behind Oklahoma because Auburn was better than Oklahoma. But they lost to Oklahoma. And Oklahoma did get hot. I mean, they had a better end of their season for sure.
Beat NC State, beat Texas. Look at the net, 64. That's just wild. So why did Miami of Ohio get in again?
Because they were 31-0 at one point, or whatever it was.
With a net rating of 64.
But see, BP's going to have a hard time fighting this. Yeah, you can listen to that. It's no big deal. I got to keep talking, though. But BP, he's going to have a hard time defending this because Auburn wasn't the first team out, right? If they were the first team out, he'd have a really good argument here. But I think with Oklahoma,
he basically just was like, when you have 10 SEC teams in, it's hard to squeeze 2 more in. Like, Auburn That's put fair. Themselves in a spot where, honestly, though, I don't know. I get the Texas thing, but Texas played well down the stretch.
See, Don says NIT game time brain drains. I don't know, Don. I don't know if we're going to be doing brain drains. It's actually kind of an interesting idea if we're just going to drink and dick around, which sometimes we do here on the brain drain. Let's see. Jay says, LOL, why are our beat writers the only ones who didn't know that we definitely weren't getting in? I don't think Jay understands how these things work, Hoke.
Oh, is he on the selection committee? That's sweet. That's a good gig. That's awesome. So he just got out of the room. He got out of the room and just immediately started chatting. That's pretty cool.
There's a reason they go to the teams, Jay. They have the live cameras on the teams because they don't even know.
Nobody knows. You want me to publish a story at 2 this afternoon? Just says they're out.
I mean, when we went live, however long ago that was, 45 minutes ago, me and Hoke both said, I don't think they're going to get in. The bunker didn't think they were going to get in. In fact, the bunker was hoping they wouldn't get in. I don't understand why the bunker's so anti. They're supposed to love Auburn, not hate Auburn. But it's all good.
And I'll just tell you for the people watching, what did I say a few minutes ago? What did I tell you? So I just texted somebody in the building, the basketball building. And here's their reaction. Not surprising. Got to win more games. So, they're not up there going, we got screwed. They understand the good metrics and the good strength of schedule, and they did what they needed to do to try to advocate. Steven did his job after the loss to Tennessee, which is advocate for his team. The social media the account that everybody was blasting. It's their damn job to advocate for their team. Like, get a life. Like, that's just what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But what I'm telling you is, they know you can't lose that many games. They're not up there. They're not up there whining or complaining. They understand the realities of it. They do.
Hey, I got a question here. Lucifer 8 the Pounder says, will Magwood play in the NIT?
Like, okay.
I love it, man. I miss Magwood too. Me and Hoke, when we go to practice, we can't talk about what happens in practice, but we see Magwood. He's out there. He's fine. He's playing hard. He's hustling. I would say the same about Abdul. He's just a very thin man. I wonder what they thought when they signed him. Did they think he was going to defend somebody? I don't know. I mean, Abdul is one of the smallest. Abdul Bashir is one of the thinnest guys I've ever seen personally in my life. Like, seriously, he makes Samir look fat. Joel says, so what is the takeaway here? Schedule next year like easier and then win more games against lesser competition. Apparently the net ratings are ultimately irrelevant if you don't win enough games.
Well, here's the thing about that, by the way. Their schedule next year it'll be easier because it'll be somewhat easier. It ain't going to be easy. I mean, you've already got Arizona and Birmingham. I think they'll be back in a preseason tournament, and you'll be in the ACC game. I mean, it's not going to get much easier next year. I mean, it's going to be another tough schedule. It won't be a team that's playing Michigan, Houston, Arizona, where you're like, okay, we are literally just staring at 4 losses. Like, there's a 0% chance of those. Might not be that. Maybe you've got a chance, but it ain't gonna be easy. I asked somebody the other day. I said, so what do y'all do? Just keep Arizona and scrap the rest? And the person I asked said, we already got like 6 tough games scheduled in non-conference.
Okay, so we're going to re-rack it. Just got to win more games, Joel. I mean,
it's not even about the non-conference. Losing to Michigan, Houston, Arizona, that didn't keep them out, man. Losing at Mississippi State kept them out. Losing to Ole Miss at home kept them out. That's it. You replace those 2 games, and you finish 9-9 in the league. You finish 19-14. You're 19-14. You're 9-9. You finish, what does that put them, 11th, 10th in the league, something like that. Your net rating is lower 30s, and you have 0 losses other than quad 1, basically. You'd have, and then maybe a quad 2 loss. Like, those 2 games down the stretch, you can't lose. Those 2. You can talk about others if you want. Those 2, though, realistically, you're better than those basketball teams, although Ole Miss was playing well. But you got to win those 2 games. You got to hold on to the lead in Starkville, and you got to show some guts and win an ugly game if you got to in Neville against All right, let's see. Let's see if they.
Yeah, listen to that, Hoke. I want to make sure you can hear that. I'm going to keep talking on here, but Auburn failing to fire. This is just me talking. Hoke's got a different opinion on this, but I think Auburn failing to fire in the Oklahoma game, the game at Oklahoma, where they really weren't a threat at any point in that game. To me, that's the one. That's the one you had to have. You can also argue Texas A&M because you could kind of say they won that game. But losing at Oklahoma and not even firing in that game, they just weren't ever in the game at Oklahoma. They got behind in the first 2 or 3 minutes, and it just never put their foot down. And if they win that game, that's enough right there. Hoke is listening to this interview with the NCAA.
Well, he's asking my mind. But, like, listen, the A&M game, you were up big. You blew that game, and then but you also look back now. That's so long ago, but Auburn got screwed in that game. I mean, they just did. For that to have been overturned was unbelievable. The evidence wasn't there to overturn it. They got screwed in that game, and in a season like this, what if is that a win? Are they in? Like, it's that close with them this year. It's just tough. But again, don't lose to Mississippi State, Ole Miss, man. Don't lose them.
CJ says, glad we're good after you called me out on the board, LOL. Basketball made me mad, and that happened. It was only about Sydney Sweeney and Livy Dunn, dude. It's okay. When we're talking about girls, it's all good. Nick says, JG, do we accept the NIT invite? Hoke and I both believe that they're going to accept the NIT invite. Yeah. Pretty much got that confirmed, although not totally official, but I don't have any reason to think that they wouldn't. And it's just part of it. That's just part of it. My experience from many, many years ago being a beat writer when the team was going into the NIT, that information just kind of leaks out like in the 8 or 9 o'clock hour.
Here we go. There's Bruce is asking about those last 4.
Yeah, I think when you look at that, the quality of wins is where it came down. You take SMU. SMU is the last team selected into the field. You look at it; they had wins when these teams were at full strength over North Carolina, Louisville, and Texas A&M. 6 games ago, they lost one of their important players, Edwards, and they're 5-6 in the.
So they're taking into account SMU losing that injured player and being 5-6. But he.
And so the quality of wins, and obviously them getting back to full strength allowed them to kind of get that last spot. Hey Keith, I'm wondering, were there any?
This is what the Canadians decided.
That you might be able to share, or was that all fairly smooth once you got the actual selection and seeding done? Yeah, that's a great question, Clark. And we did have some bracketing irregularities.
So it's interesting. He was asked. Bruce basically asked about SMU, Auburn, Texas, Miami, Ohio, like those teams, and he basically just said SMU's quality of wins. It's the first thing he went to. Quality of wins. SMU beat Louisville. They beat North Carolina. They beat Texas A&M, and then he pointed to they had an injured player. One of their best players was out, and they went 5-6 down the stretch without him. So they're getting a pass for having an injured player there late in the year, which is probably fine. He's back. He's going to play. The quality wins though thing again, like if that's the first thing you go to and you go, well, they had quality wins over Louisville, UNC, and Texas A&M. Is that better than St. John's, Florida, and Arkansas? I don't think so. I would have loved them to go somewhere different than quality of wins. Like, tell me that SMU got in because the injured player. That guy's back. They're absolutely a tournament team. He's back. We couldn't leave him out, and they have good metrics. But the quality wins thing is like, if you're Auburn, you're like,
Somebody asked earlier what the takeaway from Auburn not getting in the tournament was. Stu Pup said over here with a super chat, the takeaway is to have a better roster. Or just win more games. Yeah. Still missing one big guy, I think, on that roster. Would have been nice.
Yeah, it's like
have somebody play power forward, and then you can play Hall at 3, and not worry about
SMU. Though I'm okay. I didn't watch SMU a lot, but if you go look at, they played a lot of good non-conference games. They played a pretty good non-conference schedule. I haven't seen them. I don't hate them getting in. That's a team that, again, their like best player's been out. They went 5-6 without him. So them being in is not really, to me, if you're Auburn, if you want to argue with it, you look at Miami, Ohio, and Texas to me. You go, listen, 31-0, great, grand. You played nobody. I think I looked it up the other day, and it was like you'd have to get to Auburn's like 25th hardest game to get to Miami, Ohio's like best win. Like that's how many more teams Auburn played better than the best team Miami, Ohio played. It'd be like get to 24 on Auburn's list, then you get to like the first one on Miami, Ohio's list, and then you get to like 5 more of Auburn's list. It's so out of whack, that schedule, that I get the 31-0, but it's such a they didn't beat anybody.
I'm putting up a little graphic here on the screen. These are the top teams in Ken Palm that did not make the tournament. Auburn is the highest rated in the Ken Palms that didn't make it. So these are probably going to be your top NIT teams: Auburn, Oklahoma, Cincinnati, and Indiana. And the interesting thing is Cincinnati just fired their coach for sucking. So these are the teams. San Diego State's another team that might be a big seed in the NIT as well. So these are the kind of teams that Auburn will be having to face in that tournament.
Tech, Florida State's playing good basketball, by the way.
Yeah, Stanford wins 20 and doesn't
Oklahoma's
even get a
playing
sniff.
Good basketball. The NIT is about like who wants to be motivated. That's the thing about this Auburn team that would worry me. It's like, do they accept the bid? They play cool, great. Is there anything this Auburn team being confident that they'll be motivated and ready to play? You're gambling. Like, I'm not making that gamble. I mean, they did take care of business against Mississippi State, beat them by 18, and for 30 minutes they played good basketball against Tennessee. So they didn't completely flounder in Nashville, right? They just had a really bad last 10 minutes. So maybe they're motivated to play in the NIT, but boy, it has Peach Bowl vibes. It's got 2017 Peach Bowl vibes. That's what it's got. Where you're
got a
like,
super chat.
you
Got a
know,
super
here,
chat from
okay,
Joel.
we're in this game.
Says at the end of the day, it looks like we were the only school penalized over Alabama playing an ineligible player. That's an interesting angle we haven't considered, Hogue. What pro can we sign up for next year to play during our toughest stretch of games? Hadn't even thought about the Charles Bediako situation.
Yeah, they gave Bama a 4 seed. I mean, they won games without him. They were pretty good without him. I was told they were not going to factor that loss in when it came to A&M and Auburn and whoever else they beat. I guess, but in terms of tournament teams, A&M and Auburn, I was told that they were not. People at Auburn did not expect them to factor that in. And so if that's true, then you have to look at Auburn as a 15-loss team, and you have to take that loss. Now, you don't have to necessarily give it. Well, the hard part about that is you can't just take it as a loss. Like if you look at his impact on the game, you would almost have to argue in favor of Auburn winning the game, not just that they don't lose it. They lost by 4 in a game that he had 12 points in. You know, I mean, if you were really trying to say we're not going to factor that in, it'd be hard to not try to go, well, I think Auburn wins that without it if he doesn't play. But that's just so hard to do, and the committee's not going to get into that. They may just go, all right, we'll count him as a 15-loss team, and we'll give him a couple extra spots higher on the net, but I'm not going to factor in any more wins for him. I'm not going to factor in as a win because they didn't win it. Can't do that.
One thing to note, there was some chatter in the chat there. Auburn, if they were to get to the NIT semis or finals, they're not in the MSG this year. They're at Indianapolis. So the semifinals are at Butler, and then the championship games at the Pacers Arena. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
they've already played. Well, no, that's it's at Hinkle. Well, they played Purdue at what's the
Gamebridge? Yeah,
the bigger.
So that's cool. Good question, Joel. Also, Stu Pup jumping into the super chat, my man. He super chat us every show we've ever done. Says the NIT is the Birmingham Bowl of basketball. I don't think anyone's arguing that. P-Pass
Can we
says
just take a second and be like, the Auburn fans are Auburn basketball fans are furious, and they literally want to boycott the NIT. We've come a long way. We've come a long, long way. There was a time where Beard Eves was sold out to watch Auburn playing Baylor in the NIT or Miami in the NIT. We've come a long way. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's okay.
They got to the Final Four twice. Jeez. As far as roster retention, Hoke, there's some questions in here. Someone was joking about can they keep Mashalik. Honestly, are there some guys though, some scholarship guys that you would expect to be back next year? I'm talking about probably Sway, Jovic, Elijah Freeman, KO.
Yeah,
Tahad.
I would think Sway, Jovic, KO, and Freeman. I don't really. I mean, we'll see if any of those guys entertain the portal again, but I don't see a reason why Auburn wouldn't want to keep any of them. So I think they're all good players, good pieces. KO, I'm going to tell you, KO earned himself some money last couple of weeks. Sorry.
I still like him as a sixth man, though. I'm not sure I like him as a 40-minute-a-game guy.
No, I mean, I didn't know that, at the beginning of the season, if you told me that, hey, in March, KO is going to be the best offensive option, I'd be like, that's either really good or really bad. But he shot well. So those 4, I don't see any reason why you don't try to retain them. You just have to, I would say, Freeman's a guy that's still young enough and athletic enough that people could try to poach him. Sway is an extremely talented young kid, good guy. People could try to poach him. But those 4, let's just say Auburn holds on to those 4. Then you get into let's deal with Magwood, Simon Walker, Abdul Bashir. To me, it doesn't matter. You want to keep Simon for a culture piece. If you want to keep him for the 11th guy, fine. But if you're keeping him because you're like, we think he can compete at the 2 next year, I would be concerned. But Simon's a great kid. He works really hard. He's a good influence. He's a good locker room guy, and he's not a bad player. He's, so if you want to keep him and say that's a good culture piece, fine. I don't see how you keep Magwood or Bashir. They brought nothing to the table. There's, for different reasons, they didn't play. Bashir's a ways away. He could end up being awesome somewhere. He's such a good shooter, but developmental wise, he's not there. And then Magwood had his issues. So to me, you let those two go. If you want to keep Simon, fine, figure it out. That's 5. Then you're at Tahad. I have no idea what you do with Tahad. I think Tahad's valuable. I think he's valuable more in the role he played last year. If Tahad could play, if you went out and got a true point guard, and Tahad could play 20 minutes at the 2, and 8 to 10 minutes at the 1 or something, and then could rest a little bit, I think there's potential there. Let him start at the 2, run stuff for him, but he's got to defend better, and he's got to decide he wants to do things off the court the way he's supposed to do it. Like, it's not just an on the court skill thing. There's a reason he didn't start a few games. He's not taking things seriously off the court the way he needs to for somebody that's getting paid the way he is. So that's just going to have to be almost an internal decision. Like, what do we do with him? Who can we bring in? How would he fit in? Is he going to do everything that we need him to do? Is he going to get better on defense? And is all of that worth $2 million? I can't answer that question. Auburn's going to have to decide that based on their needs, based on their NIL budget. They're going to have to figure that out. I don't know. I think there's a path for him to be on the team next year, but I could also see him going, you know what? Ship's kind of sailed. Maybe this year wasn't great. I'm going to go somewhere that wants to pay me big bucks. Some program is like, dude, he's skilled. Let's just pay him and bring him in. It'll have Cam Coleman to Texas vibes, So I could see that too. So that's up in the air. And so then what are you at? You're at 4. Let's say you brought back Simon. You're at 5. Let's say you brought back Tahad. You're at 6. You got a freshman coming in. So there's still room. There's room for at least 3 portal guys. I would think I think you're looking at the 3 to 5 range for the portal. I don't think it'll be 6, and I don't, so I'm thinking you're looking at 3 to 5 depending on what happens, but got to go get a point guard, and you got to rebuild the interior. I mean, Sway and Jovic are fine, but you need 6'10". You need 6'10". I mean, you need that or taller. So it's going to be interesting.
I wish we could have just known more about Caden as a point guard. He was just kind of, I know he didn't start great in the SEC, and then we had the problem with the social media, but
the problem.
He called his coach a couple names, but when we were watching him in the summer, we watched him in the preseason practice in the fall, and we both thought, hey, I like him, and I think he's going to be a good complement with a Tahad, and we didn't think he was better than Tahad or anything like that, but I think Auburn needed a real true point guard. Tahad's kind of a combo, and there's times when Tahad needs to be a slasher. And
PP just did this to end the telecast, by the way.
He did this?
They just ended the show, and he went like this. Call guy.
Oh, I still go. I love that. That's great. So Tahad, I would say Tahad won't be back. Somebody in the chat said maybe St. John's or UConn for him, and I could see that.
Easily. Could be that situation. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even if you decided, all right, Tahad's worth it, we've got a plan, we're going to present him with this plan, we're going to pay. Even if you did all that, he's still going to have some teams coming after him that know his skill set. But that's interesting, though. I mean, it's like, hey, cut it out. It's a dog, not a kid. Hey, stop. Chewing on shit. I'm going to beat this dog.
So, yeah, they're going to need to add a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, because I got to believe Caden's gone. So, Tahad's gone, Keyshawn's gone, Magwood's gone. And after that, for me, I think you keep Simon Walker. You don't have to pay him a lot. I always felt like he was going to be a guy that would play here for a number of years and just get a little bit better every year. You mentioned him as a culture guy, and I think he's also that. So, and then Purim, I should say, I don't know what to say about him. I've talked to him. He's doing better, but that's a complicated situation there. And I think Abdul's leaving. But he's healthy, by the way. People have asked, like, what the hell's going on with Abdul? He's in practice. mean, he practices hard just like everybody else. I think they were just worried about his back for a while and didn't want to push it. And by the time he was back to 100%, we were halfway through the season. And
yeah, I just still can't get over Texas. Texas getting in's a joke. I mean, what did Texas finish SEC play? Were they 2 games better than Auburn? Were they 9-9?
My guess is they
10?
were 2, based on me doing these updates all the time. Let me do a check here real quick, Hoke. They finished 9-9 in the league. They lost 4 of their last 5, including games to Georgia, Florida, Arkansas, and Oklahoma, and then they lost in the first round of the SEC tournament to the Ole Miss Rebels by 10. So,
so two games better in the league. You go down the line. Their BPI was 11 spots worse than Auburn. Their net was 4 spots worse than Auburn. Their strength of record was a spot worse than Auburn. Wins above bubble, 2 spots worse than Auburn. Their KPI was 20 spots worse than Auburn. Their KenPom was 1 spot better than Auburn. Their T rank was 4 spots worse. So close, but behind Auburn in all of those metrics. I guess they looked at that and go, hey, a difference of 2 to 3 to 4 in the analytics is just not much if a team finished 2 games ahead in the league. I could maybe get that. I mean, if you go net of 38 versus 42, what's the difference? A strength of record of 43 versus 44. A wins above bubble, 44 or 46. That had to have been what they did. They just decided, okay, yes, Auburn's better than them in those, but they had to have been just like, they're so close that then let's just give Texas the nod because they did finish 2 games ahead of Auburn in the league standings and didn't, I guess. But it's the end of the day, it's like, what's the point of having them if you can finish ahead of a team in those metrics and then it not really matter? So
here we go. I put Texas's SEC record up on the screen there. You can
they got
see
hot
that.
right there.
Yeah, Alabama Vanderbilt's a nice win. I mean, those are 2 nice wins, and then I guess Georgia, which is a tournament team.
I mean, they got hot with Oklahoma, who didn't make it. South Carolina was terrible. Ole Miss, Auburn couldn't do it. They knocked Missouri off. LSU, so that hot streak, they beat one tournament team. They beat 1. And then they beat Texas A&M, but they lost. You're right. They lost 4 out of 5, including Oklahoma, who didn't make the tournament, including Ole Miss, who didn't make the tournament. They didn't close like gangbusters either. So I don't know. But again,
gotta pick somebody.
You can't be 3-7. You got to pick somebody, and you can't lose to Ole Miss and Mississippi State and be down by 28 to Alabama. Like, even that, the committee's watching that Alabama game, right? Auburn should be fighting for their life. And like winning that game, not likely, right? You're probably not winning in Tuscaloosa. I think if anybody on the committee though was watching that and they're watching that going, Auburn should be fighting for their life and they're down 28. Like, even that's just a really bad look.
There's some comments in the chat, Hoke, about your dog. Somebody here calling you Justin Vickinson. Chris M says, going to need proof of life on that dog, Hoke. Chris later said Hoke's dog knocking over his 83 SEC championship Coke bottles.
Coke bottles. I like the one that said he broke the dog's back there breaking a beer bottle ready to throw down.
He's mad about Texas getting in. I understand. It's bullshit, man.
No, he got too excited. He slid the bed, and then the bed slid into the bowls. The whole thing.
Stubub says 16 losses, including 11 in conference. Committee ain't overlooking those 2 numbers. And Hoke's talked about this too. It's a lot of losses.
It is. And again, like I said, you look at those metrics and yes, Auburn's higher than a bunch of those teams in a bunch of those metrics, but they're all really close. They're in the ballpark. I mean, they're all, the only one that I just read that was not in the ballpark was the KPI. Auburn's 20 spots ahead of them in the KPI and 11 spots ahead in the BPI. But the rest of them are really, really close, within a couple of points, basically calling them even type teams. So it's a tough one. It goes back to those games, Mississippi State and Ole Miss. I mean, you can't lose it.
Yeah. Not Salty want to know, Hoke, about the financial situation with NIL. Do you think that Steven's going to be able to, take this and get what he needs NIL wise to get the roster he needs for next year?
I would say that remains to be seen to some degree. I mean, they're going to have the way the market is, the way this stuff is gone. You got to think that you're going to have to go up because the market doesn't seem like it's going to go down. Last year, I don't know if people remember. Last year, the basketball portal thing, man, when it opened, the market exploded. Auburn, I probably need to make a post, whatever. Maybe it's old news, but Auburn thought they were in decent position when the portal was about to open, and then it opened, and the numbers that some of these kids were asking for was shocking. And so Auburn's roster ended up 12 million-ish, but it wasn't there at the beginning of the portal. Like at the beginning of the portal, they weren't like, we've got 12 million to spend. But they were like, we got 9 or 10, and we think we're in a great place. And then it opened, and Yaxel wanted 4 million, and they're like, what? We were going to maybe offer you 2, maybe. You want 4? That kind of stuff shocked them. And then when you had BP retired, you had to go back and you had to give Tahad a raise and Keyshawn Hall a raise. So it ended up being about 12, but it's not like they were ready to go with 12. So there's going to have to be some adjustment. You got to think you're probably going to need to be a little higher than that this year. I mean, you'll get a little NIL or rev share, but they're never going to get more than about 2.5 to 3 rev share. That's it. It's just got to go to football. And so they're going to need to raise 10 in NIL. So we'll see. I mean, Steven, I think, is working really hard he's basically trying to raise the NIL. Like he's probably the lead guy raising NIL. And so he's working really hard. I think the interesting dynamic is not even boosters. I don't even think it's getting boosters on board. I don't think it's going to be like, ooh, are boosters scared away by the season and now they won't do it? I don't think that is. I think it'll be intriguing in the portal in terms of, can they go land a big time guy that'll overlook the season and that will overlook Steven's inexperience and go, you know what, it's a great program. You're a first year head coach. I get it. But like, I believe in you. And like, can Steven sell to a couple of big time guys, hey, this was a weird year. BP retired, wasn't quite my roster, just was not flowing. Like, we're going to be back. We're in a big way, and you're going to be part of it, and I'm going to get us there. And can you get a couple of guys to go, okay, I'm in? Like, I'll ignore kind of what I saw this year, maybe the record, or, you know, you're only 1 year in. I'm in. Can he sell a couple of big-time dudes on it? And, like, Steven's shown himself to be a good recruiter. I mean, he recruited Miles Kelly. That's one that comes to mind. I still remember that one. But, like, he's targeted and recruited guys. And so that's the interesting thing to me. Can they sell to a couple of studs? The bad year, what happened? Sort of just a blip in the radar, and they're going to be back.
That'd be sweet. You know, we're coming off the Final Four last year, and you know we're missing some stuff. So being successful on the court doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a great season. And conversely, when you have a poor season, although Auburn's wasn't awful, it was just not good enough. You know, it doesn't mean you're doomed to failure. You can go ahead and say, hey, we need better players, and you're that guy. Yeah. Got to do that in the football side too. So get a few Byron Browns on the basketball side, and you'll be Gucci, right? It's that easy.
Yeah, it's that easy. Yeah. It's just and again, I go back to, like, I wrote about it, but so many things went wrong in the evaluation. Like, Keyshawn Murphy was not quite as healthy. He came on, but Freeman didn't develop quite like he's going to be good, I think, but I think they would have loved for Freeman to have come in this year and been a stud already. I mean, you remember Freeman was starting. I mean, I was writing about Freeman was going to start in the summer. Like, their expectation was Elijah Freeman, that's our 3. That's our replacement for Chad. That's our wing. And he was he wasn't quite there, right? Then they put him out of the lineup. So, like, Freeman, I love his potential, but I don't think he got exactly to where they wanted him to be yet. Then you got Murphy's health, and you got KO was probably about what we thought. I mean, KO was never supposed to be the stud of this team, so he's fine. Hall was – I think we all just looked at Keyshawn Hall like this great scorer. I think we were all like, wow, do you play any defense? So that was maybe shocking. Then you toss in Tahad and his immaturity, and he didn't really develop into the leader you wanted him to be, and he didn't quite – took him a while at point. I mean, he put up some numbers late, but, man – there was just not quite fluid there at the point. There was just a lot of little things in terms of roster development that went the wrong way. And it'd be hard to find one that went the right way. I mean, Sway was decent. I thought Jovic got better. That was a good thing. I thought he got a little bit better. I mean, early in the season, I was like, oh boy. Thought he got a little bit better. Like Bashir not ready. Magwood didn't do. There's so many things roster-wise that went the wrong direction that they'll just have to right the ship. They're gonna have to hit on guys. They can't miss on guys. They got to hit on guys this offseason.
Still getting some questions about will they take the NIT invite. Hoke and I definitely believe they will. So that's the situation.
So. I mean, I sent a text just straight up asking a little bit ago and haven't gotten an answer back. But I can't imagine. I don't, especially if you're Steven, your first year head coach, I don't think that that's the position you want to turn down a postseason bid. And it might not even be your call. I mean, you're probably going to have John Cohen and people up there going, no, we're not turning down home games. We're going to play home games and we're going to sell some stuff and we're going to make a little bit of money. And we're not turning down home games. The only reason I could see him doing it is to just go full on portal. I want to start watching every kid I can that might enter the portal. I want to start telling my kids now, hey, you can go ahead and move on. Let's lock you up. You're coming back. I want to I just want to go full on into the portal. But if the players want to play, you're doing them a disservice. If you're like, if you're like, well, I'm ready to do the portal, and somebody like Keyshawn Hall or Keyshawn Murphy, who's a good kid, is going, I got games to play. So you can't do that to those guys. I mean, no matter what you think about Hall and Murphy, they're seniors. If they're going, I want to play, because if you guys decide that you don't want the NIT invite, my career's over. I'm done. And so I don't think you can do that to guys that are ending their careers. If they're ready to go, and I think you got to play.
Let's see. Reverend Barn Booster says, at the end of the day, bring back KO, Sway, Freeman, and Jovic. The rest can leave. Pearl needs 2 generals at point guard, a transition, a pure 3-point shooter, and 2 true centers. Wow. 2 true centers, a Micah Handlogton and maybe a Walker Kessler, huh?
Yeah. I did hate watching Duke Miles, man. Golly.
Montgomery kid.
Listen,
and Auburn tried to get him a couple years ago.
Auburn, and he took the bag. He took the bag and went to OU. That was surprising. It was really surprising to Auburn because he visited and he was their guy, and he was in. And then he went home, and then OU talked him into a visit, and he took the bag and went to OU, and they were terrible last year. And then he made a great move. He lands on Vanderbilt's team. He looked better this year than he did last year, and he's he's super happy now. But if he was on Auburn's team, think about if he's on Auburn's team last year and he's the 1 and Denver's the 2, and Tahad still plays, but it's him and Denver and not Denver Tahad. You had 2 real point guards last year, and the way he plays defense might have stunted Tahad's minutes a little bit, but boy, that team would have even been better. But then you would have come in this year and Duke would have been your 1 and Tahad would have been your 2. And just that change alone, I mean, you still would have lacked some interior defense, but that change alone, they're probably in the tournament.
Yeah. Duke's a stud from Montgomery. And it was the line between Auburn and Oklahoma 2 years ago financially was very small. And I thought he was going to still go to Auburn because it's so much closer to home for him. But, an extra couple $1,000s, and he said, let's go to OU. And they were terrible, but he still got paid.
I know. And Auburn went option B, JP Pegues. My God.
Todd Golden wanted JP Pegues.
He did. The wildest part of that. The wildest part of the JP Pegues thing is you're like, what happened there? And you're like, not just what happened. Todd Golden wanted him. It was Auburn or Florida for JP Pegues. Mm-hmm. And they played for the national championship, and JP Pegues might as well just stayed home.
Well, see, I'm trying to think. Todd and BP went head-to-head with Janai, so Auburn won that one. Went head-to-head with Micah Handlogton, lost that one. And he had a freak injury in the SEC tournament that kind of messed him up. And then JP, Auburn won, but kind of lost. I don't know if these other guys, like the outstanding players at Florida right now, I don't know if Auburn was pushing really hard for like Condon or Haw or Chin Liu. I just don't know. But anyway, it doesn't matter now.
Here's the other thing. I'm going to try to write about it when the season's over or whenever I can. It'll be interesting to see who Steven goes after. What, if any, changes can we see or notice in the roster? Does he want to do anything different in the specs of a player and the specs of a roster compared to what it was under BP? And it is just whatever that might be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, BP had kind of all different teams. I mean, last year you had Janai and Dylan and Chaney and Chad. He had a lot of length, and he's had teams that didn't have that. But it'll be interesting to see kind of like what are the mannerisms, what are the characteristics that he really, really focuses on. If you think back, man, to how Steven talks about Houston, like when they played Houston earlier this year, he was like, I admired Kelvin Sampson. Like, that's how a team should play basketball. And so the way he's defensive minded, you kind of wonder if he's like, I'm going to go get good dudes who I know love basketball, who are dogs, and who are going to guard. I better know that to the best of my ability. This year, it felt like they went out and got offense. It felt like they went out and got Murphy and Hall, and we got Tahad, and Tahad's going to do this. We're going to create space for these guys to be shooters, and Tahad's going to create, and we're just going to be this free flowing machine. And the defense was maybe overlooked a little bit. Maybe they thought, we'll be okay on defense, but we're going to be so good on offense that we're going to be fine. And they were really bad on defense. They weren't okay on defense.
Missed that one a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a good point, Hope. Maybe now that Steven's going to have the full cycle of adding players, hey, we'll change the things that we care about. I think they ought to learn from that. Probably a good thing. All right, you want to wrap it up there, Justin?
Yeah, that works. They just we'll end on this. They released the overall seed list. Wow, that guy's super cool. So if you go down, I mean, basically the last four were Miami of Ohio, SMU, Texas, NC State. Those were the last four ends. Auburn finishes going 7-13 against NCAA tournament. It's wild to beat 7 NCAA tournament teams and miss the tournament, and beat 2 regular season conference champions and miss it. That's a good amount of tournament games to win 7 games against tournament teams and to not get in. To be good enough to do that, including St. John's in Florida, and flounder so badly down the stretch that you miss the tournament is, it just shouldn't have happened. This team wasn't great. Nope. But they were good enough to be in the tournament. They were good enough. They weren't not a whole lot better. They weren't a juggernaut, but they were good enough to be in there as a 9-ish seed, and they were on pace. And they just lost a couple down the stretch where leadership just I think hurt them, and they didn't stay focused and made a lot of mistakes, and it cost them.
Yep. All right, AuburnSports.com will be doing NIT stuff later tonight when we find out what they're going to be doing there. We've got football starting on Tuesday. We've got Tuesday, Thursday availability this week. And, of course, we'll be doing NIT. Baseball's looking pretty good. Got a sweep on the road this week to start the SEC season, so that's going to be something to keep an eye on. Softball got swept at Oklahoma, but, it's Oklahoma. They're really, really dirty. Anyway, that's the latest we're going to have at Auburn Sports. Thanks for tuning in to our show, our broadcast today, and we'll see you next time. Peace and love.